If I had to start an Airbnb business from scratch in 2026, here's exactly the steps that I would do. By the way, my name's Danish Azim. I started Airbnb Arbitrage in 2022. I currently operate over 22 short-term rental properties, and I generate over $75,000 a month on Airbnb. But more important than that, I've taught hundreds of students on how to actually start an Airbnb arbitrage business successfully in the last 2 years. So if you're someone that's curious or wants to learn more about how to actually start an Airbnb business, especially going into 2026 and beyond, make sure that you guys stay throughout this full video, because I'm going to give you guys a breakdown step-by-step of what is Airbnb arbitrage and how you can actually get started and actually make sure that you guys succeed. So you might be asking the question, what exactly is Airbnb arbitrage? So Airbnb arbitrage, in short, is a business model where you can rent properties from property owners or landlords by getting their permission to legally sublease the property and list it as a short-term rental. So in very simple terms, you're going to be renting a property on a long-term lease from a property owner, typically a 1-year or 2-year lease, and you're going to get legal permission from that property owner to list their property as a short-term rental. Now, the way it works is once you do get a confirmation from the landlord that is going to allow you to do this, you're able to furnish that property, stage it up, get professional pictures, and now list that property as an Airbnb host. And you're able to make the difference of what you make on Airbnb minus the rent that you pay in to the property owner. So let's give you guys a very simple example. Let's say if I found a 2-bed, 2-bath in Dallas, Texas, and the rent is $2,000 a month that I pay to the property owner. Let's say in the month of February, as an example, I make $5,000 on Airbnb with that property. Let's say $2,000 is what my rent is. Let's say my other expenses, which is utilities and cleaning fees, was $500 for that month. So my all-in expenses for the month of February is $2,500. I made $5,000 in bookings. Subtract the $5,000 from $2,500, and my net profit for that month is $2,500. Now, $2,500 might not change your life, but imagine if you learn how to do one property successfully. Imagine if you learn how to get now 4 properties. Now you're making an extra $10,000 a month, and the best part is you can learn how to scale to past $10,000 a month while only putting in about 5 to 10 hours per week with this business. Now, I'm going to share with you guys exactly how you can make that happen. Now, you guys also might be curious, how much does it actually take to start up this business? And I'm going to give you guys a very simple example. Any property, when you're doing Airbnb rental arbitrage, you typically have 3 main costs associated with starting up a property. You have your first month rent, you have your security deposit, and you have your furnishing costs. Now, let's break down this simple example. A 2-bed, 2-bath might cost you $2,000 in rent. You might have a $2,000 security deposit, which is refundable. So that's $4,000. And let's say a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, if you furnish it the right way, it's going to probably cost you around $6,000. So now you've been able to start that property with first month rent, a security deposit, and the furnishing costs for a total of $10,000. Now, $10,000 is not a lot of money to start up a business, but the best part also with this business is if you have good credit, which is typically sitting above a 680 credit score, and you have a strong credit profile, you can actually leverage the bank's money to go get 0% business credit cards. There's many 0% business credit cards out there offered by Chase, American Express, Discover One, Bank of America, that with a good credit profile, you can usually get approved anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 of 0% business credit cards. So without having to use your personal capital in this business, you can get 0% business credit cards and then use that money to start up properties. When you are doing this business, you have to do a few things correctly, especially in 2026 and beyond. Going into the 2026 market on short-term rentals, you have to play this game as a professional in order to actually be profitable. And I've been doing this for 3 years, so I'm teaching you guys from experience on how to make money in a profitable way with the Airbnb business. So, number 1, you have to learn how to get approvals from the property owners. Now, the way you find properties, in the simplest way, you would go to a website called Zillow.com and you can search for the criteria. You'd put properties for rent, you would find out a rent price that you're probably comfortable with getting into your first property, and you start looking for the listings. Now, when you are looking for a property to run as an Airbnb, you have to, number one, pay attention to location. Location is probably one of the most important things, but not the only important thing when you're doing Airbnb. You have to make sure you're in a good area, which doesn't mean you're in a specific area. It just means that your property should probably be near like a downtown, near stadiums, near hospitals, near airport, near a beach. Why would someone come visit to your property on a short-term basis? You have to figure that out. But more than just figuring it out, you have to learn how to actually research and analyze a deal. So the way I've done this, and I've taught hundreds of students the right way on how to do this, is we leverage a tool called AirDNA. AirDNA is basically a software tool that lets you basically spy on competitors, where you can punch in an address, and that AirDNA will tell you all the properties in that vicinity within a few mile radius on what is the average property making in that area. So that tool will help you properly research and analyze the deals once you actually learn how to use this tool. Now, number two, you have to get approval from the property owner. Now, there's only two ways of getting approvals to actually do Airbnb arbitrage. Number one, this is what probably most of the gurus are going to tell you out there, that you have to go on Zillow, you have to cold call, you have to get good at pitching a landlord. And yes, that's one way to get approvals to actually do Airbnb arbitrage. But something that I've done myself personally, and I've taught hundreds of students on how to actually do this, is by getting into what they call turnkey properties. This is essentially where you're able to get a property without actually having a cold call. And this is exactly how. There's companies out there or people out there that are willing to do the work in terms of cold calling other property owners and getting approvals, and they're willing to basically sell you that lead on average $1,000 to $3,000. So now, instead of wasting your time cold calling a bunch of property owners, these people, what they call a finder fee is what they'll sell you, but they're gonna give you direct access to a property, to the property owner that's already okay with allowing you to do short-term rentals with that property. So now, once you have an approval, now once you've actually researched and analyzed a deal, now the key is when you analyze a deal, you always wanna typically aim for a property to make you 2 times revenue compared to what you pay in the rent price. You get a yes from a property owner, but that property cannot make money once you actually research and analyze that deal, it's pointless. There's no point of getting into a business if you can't make money with it. So knowing how to analyze deals is very, very important. Now, number 3 is once you do get the approval, once you've analyzed the deal and the numbers make sense, you have to learn how to furnish and stage the property. Now, most people think, hey, you have to get your first property where you live. For me, 75% of my portfolio with over 20 properties is in properties that I've never actually even been to, or I did not go out there in person to launch the property. And this is exactly how you can do that. You can actually hire furniture builders, where you can order furniture from websites like Amazon, Wayfair, Walmart, order the furniture to the property that you're gonna run as an Airbnb, and then you can hire a furniture builder from a website called Thumbtack. Once you do that, the furniture builders will go out and build all the furniture. Now you would hire a cleaner. You can actually use a special website called Turnover B&B, where you can hire a professional Airbnb cleaner to go clean up the property and stage up the property so it's gonna be ready for the photographer. Now, of course, you're gonna go hire a professional photographer that can go take professional real estate photos for your Airbnb property. And now, once you have professional photos back, number 4 is very important. You have to know how to set up your listing the right way. So when you're setting up a listing, there's a few things that are very crucial. Number 1, you need a nice title. Number 2, you need a nice listing description. Number 3, you have to list all the amenities that your place offers. Number 4, you have to price the property correctly. Number 5, you want to set up automation messages for guests for like check-in instructions, booking confirmations, checkout details, guests leaving you a positive review. And you have to know how to price the property correctly. That is probably the most important thing. Now, for pricing a property correctly, you can actually use a software tool called PriceLabs. This is an AI tool that will price your property, especially once you learn actually how to utilize this software tool based on supply, based on demand, based on the seasonality of your property, and based on the competition in the area. That way you can consistently stay booked 70, 80, 90% plus every single month. I've been doing Airbnb for the past 3 years. My average portfolio is averaging about 85 to 90% bookings every single month because I learned how to actually price my properties. Now, once you've set up your listing, which is number 4, number 5 comes down to your customer service. At the end of the day, if you cannot successfully succeed in having good guest reviews, your Airbnb listing will go down. And this is more important in 2026 than ever. So knowing how to attract consistently good 4 and 5, especially 5-star reviews, is very important with the competition out there. So by doing this, you need to make sure you have good automation messages in place. You have to make sure if you cannot respond to your messages on a timely manner, make sure that you hire virtual assistants who can. And you have to make sure that you're advertising your property correctly. Everything that you list in your property should match what someone's going to get when they actually come to the property. That way they get a good experience and they are leaving you with a 5-star review. As long as you do these 5 things correctly, you will succeed with Airbnb Arbitrage. So number 1, you want to learn how to get business funding. Now, for those of you guys that have good credit, but maybe you don't know how to get business funding, make sure that you guys click the link in my description where you guys can actually book a call with me, and I'll get you guys connected with my team who does business funding to help people get approved for $50,000 or more, as long as you meet the qualifications with your credit profile. Now, number 2, after you get business funding, you need to learn how to research, analyze the deals correctly, and make sure that numbers are going to make sense when you get approvals, which leads into number 3. You have to make sure you get property approvals from landlords. Is very, very important. Number 4, you have to know how to go about the furnishing and the staging property part. Because if you don't learn how to furnish and stage the property correctly, especially going into 2026 where the market competition is way crazier than ever, you will lose in this game. So learning how to furnish and stage properly with good professional photos is very important. Then you have to learn how to set up your listing in terms of your titles, your descriptions, all that stuff. And then you have to learn how to have good customer service. That way you're attracting good reviews and your listing is going to last for the next 1, 2, 3 years. That way you're consistently able to make money with your property. Now, if you guys are curious exactly on how you guys can do this, there's going to be a link in my description where you guys can click, book a call with me or my team. We'll give you guys a strategy and a roadmap on how to actually make this business work for you. And we'll also see if it's a good fit for us to work together. For my students, I give you guys my roadmap, I give you my blueprint, I give you my personal contact information to work with me. We get on one-on-one Zoom calls. That way you have experience from someone who's been doing this for 3 years, that's made and generated over 7 figures with Airbnb Arbitrage, to give you that shortcut to learning how to succeed in this business. There's always 2 ways of learning. You can go figure out everything by yourself, or smart people, they will pay for information and pay for coaches and mentors. That way you can shortcut your learning curve and avoid a lot of the mistakes if you do it by yourself. So this is the exact blueprint on how to actually succeed with Airbnb in 2026 and beyond. If you guys have questions, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section or book a call with me and my team, and we'll give you guys a free strategy session on how you can actually make this business work for yourself. I look forward to doing more videos and helping you guys succeed with Airbnb in 2026 and beyond.